All of a sudden, you're riding up down the block and they hear some women sit over there talking, screaming, Tupac, Tupac, Tupac. And guess who's hanging out of the passenger side of a BMW? Yes, one Tupac Amaru Shakur. And they was like, there you go right there. So they bust a Huey on Las Vegas Boulevard, get right behind them. They turn on Flamingo right behind them. This is PA, Texas, and I'm here to bring you some news. There's been an arrest in the 1996 murder of famous rapper, entertainer, movie star Tupac Shakur. If you all don't know, Tupac Shakur was shot in Vegas. If I'm not mistaken, it's on the corner of Flamingo and Koval. Flamingo is where the Horseshoe and that Club Dre's and the Hotel Cromwell is. That's Flamingo Street. And Koval is the next street over from Vegas Boulevard. The next light, if I'm not mistaken. No, not well, the next major street. Actually was over there not a couple of months ago. And yeah. So Las Vegas PD has arrested Duane Keefe-D Davise. Duane Keith Davis, aka Keefe-D, in the Tupac in the slang of 1990s hip hop star Tupac Shakur. And I don't know if you all know this, but Tupac was larger than in the 90s was larger than anything. He was like Wayne, Drake, and all those guys put together in one. And he was a big movie star. We talk, he was large. Duane Keith Davis, a.k.a. Keefe-D, has been arrested. And this is a self-inflicted wound because he has been writing tell-all books and doing interviews saying what happened that night in Vegas. Now, if you all don't know, if I'm not mistaken, I remember it was September, October 1996. 1996, because I remember I went to my girlfriend's football game. She was a cheerleader, and I was like, "You heard about Tupac?" This is so long ago. That's how old I am too. This is 27 years ago. Right on that corner, Tupac was leaving the Mike Tyson fight. When he left the Mike Tyson fight, he got in the car with his record producer of the label that he was on, a guy by the name of Suge Knight. And a car pulled up and unloaded, killing Tupac and injuring Suge Knight in the process. Now, it was said that it was a white Cadillac that did it because Tupac's entourage saw the hand come out the white Cadillac and unload. He sent flame through the car though. Now, once that immediately, I think Tupac ended up dying a week later in the hospital. He probably was already dead. They just kept him on life support. He wasn't dead because he was responsive at the scene. But he ended up, by the time they got to the hospital, he ended up dying. They probably, medics are dumb. They probably did some dumb stuff like did CPR on him while he got bullets in his chest. So they sitting there just massaging bullets and having metal. They pushing his chest while the bullets are messing up his organs even more. People are stupid, but that's neither here nor there. So anyway, after that, there were a lot of rumors of who killed Tupac. Some people say Suge did it. Some people say it was, the Illuminati. Some people say an alien came out of space. I mean, there were so many conspiracy theories about how Tupac got shot. Now, I have friends in the LA area. So this is the story, as far as I know, how Tupac was murdered. So At the Mike Tyson fight, Tupac got into an altercation with a known killer. Uh, a known hitter. I mean, he was about that life. He was a gangster. Uh, I can't even think of his name right now. He's actually Keefe-D's nephew, Orlando Anderson. I forgot his nickname, but it's a guy named Orlando Anderson. They had got into it in L.A. about a death row chain or something like that. Anyway, Tupac and his entourage saw Orlando Anderson at the Mike Tyson fight. But you gotta understand, Orlando Anderson's uncle, which is this guy, he had big bread. He was in the game. He was in the dope game, and he was one of his connection was from the Pablo Escobar cartel. And y'all know how those guys. We don't have to. You don't have to. Unless you've been dead. So they had the money to go to any fight. So he brought his crew, Orlando Anderson, Keefe-D. They all rode from L.A. Now they're from the Los Angeles area, if I'm not mistaken. They're from Compton. So they ponied up, drove a white Cadillac up to Vegas to go see the Tyson fight. And Tyson, I don't know if you all know this, but Tyson was large then. Tyson was like, you know how people used to go to the Floyd Mayweather fights? It was even bigger. Tyson was even bigger and better. I mean, you all can YouTube this. I mean, he was one. Mike Tyson's probably one of the most exciting fighters whoever laced up some gloves. Now, anyway, so after the fight, Tupac spots Orlando Anderson, who they got into an altercation with in the mall before. Then he's like, there they go right there. So you can look this up on YouTube. Tupac and his entourage, who were pretty much Suge's, which are the Mob Pirus, which is a blood set, and Orlando and Keefe-D or Southside Crips, which is they're both gangs from Compton, and this is probably in the middle of the Blood versus Crip war. I mean, if you wore red, that was your butt. If somebody else is wearing blue and vice versa. So anyway, they get into a fight. They jump Orlando Anderson. They ain't beat him up bad, but they beat him up to where he probably had a broken rib or something. Something probably was wrong. Then security breaks it all up. Tupac rolls out of the MGM Grand, and he goes and changes clothes. Orlando Anderson goes to his uncle Keefe-D and is like, I just got jumped. There's like, okay, we finna handle this. Let me rewind it. Tupac and Biggie used to have this big music rivalry, right? And Biggie was under a record producer by the name of Sean Puffy Combs. They were blood rivals. It was just a bad situation. It was the biggest rap beef ever, if I'm not mistaken. It is rumored, I don't know how true this is, because Sean Puffy Combs and Keefe-D, was this guy here, were known to be associates. So one day, this is a rumor, I don't know how true this is, they said that Puffy put $1 million bounty on Suge Knight and Tupac's head with this guy. Now, how true that is, I don't know. So now fast forward after that, after Tupac and the Mob Piru Crips the Mob Piru Bloods. I just know people that's out there in LA. I haven't lived in LA. The LA life is different, from the hood. I don't know. Orlando Anderson goes gets his uncle, Duane Keefe-D Davis. And they go looking for Tupac. And, They going up and down Las Vegas Boulevard. They don't see. Well, by the way, I think at the time Tupac was changing. They're about to go to a Suge's club at the time, which is called 662. So they riding up and down the street looking for him. They can't. Ain't no Tupac. No Tupac. Now they have a gun. They get a gun from, I think, one of Puffy's crew. Puffy's crew is down there, and they get a gun. All of a sudden, you're riding up down the block, and they hear some women sit over there talking, screaming, Tupac, Tupac, Tupac. And guess who's hanging out of the passenger side of a BMW? Yes, one Tupac Amaru Shakur. And they was like, there you go right there. So they bust a Huey on Las Vegas Boulevard, get right behind them. They turn on Flamingo right behind them. Then they pull up to the BMW. So there were 4 people in the car. If I'm not mistaken, Keefe-D was riding shotgun. And Orlando Anderson was in the back seat, actually behind Keefe-D. So they gave the gun to the person that was closest to Tupac, right? And he was like, I ain't shooting him. And Orlando Anderson, who just got jumped, took the gun and led off and sent him through the car door, killing Tupac and injuring Suge Knight. From what I hear, they ended up making a Huey, parking and walking over a overpass over there off of Flamingo and sitting there looking at it. I actually walked over that overpass, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Killing Tupac. Now they end up going back to L.A. and they ended up calling Sean Puffy Combs. Is like, hey, we did it. And Sean Puffy's like, that's you? Like, that was y'all? He's like, yeah. Puffy actually paid the bounty, but it never got to the killers. So Puffy gets off scot-free because the bounty was never paid. So if the bounty was paid, Puffy would be in trouble too. The guy that Puffy told to give the money to Keefe-D stole the money. So Puffy ended up out of just pure luck getting he's not going to be involved in this because the money never got there. Years go by. The gunman who actually pulled the trigger, Orlando Anderson, actually ends up getting killed over some drugs a couple of years later. Somebody owed Keefe-D some money, and Orlando wanted to know what was up with it, and ended up getting a shootout. He ended up getting shot pretty much through the heart and died on the scene. The other 2 guys ended up dying in other instances, and the only person surviving now is Duane Keith Davis, who has just been arrested. Now, he's been on the internet talking about, this is why I know a lot about this. He's been on the internet talking about what he has done. So they're going to have plenty of video footage to convict him. He snitched on himself. So, and he wrote tell-all books and this and that, and they have a lot of evidence to convict him of a 30-year-old murder. What the hell was he thinking? Every time I saw an interview, I was just like, dude, do he know that there's no statute of limitations on murder? And he's sitting there saying that he was in a car with the people who pulled the trigger. Dude, in most states, everybody in the car gets a murder charge. He snitched on himself. Now, anyway, this is breaking news, and I just wanted to relay it to everyone. As there been an arrest in the murder case of Tupac Shakur. Let me know what you all think in the comments. I'm out.